Hey everyone, Javi here, and today we're going to be taking a closer look and installing Cooler Master's new Hyper 212X CPU cooler, the latest in the extremely popular Hyper 212 series. The first thing that you're greeted with is the accessories box for the Hyper 212X, and included with this container we have the user manual and installation guide, the warranty information, 2 mounting brackets if you elect to install another 120mm fan, the versatile patented X bracket from Cooler Master that does allow you to install the cooler on multiple CPU socket types, and the tools that are included, all the various standoffs, nuts, and CPU thermal paste that you're going to need for installation on this cooler, which that packaging is actually really nice. The thing I didn't show you before was the CPU backplate, which Cooler Master does claim will support every modern CPU socket type. Taking a closer look at the Hyper 212X, it does utilize the same patented CDC, or continuous direct contact heat pipe design, as the 212 Evo. This design does ensure the best contact with the CPU and the heat pipes for the most optimal thermal transfer. The Hyper 212X does have a few minor changes to the fin arrays, as it does contain a new design with perforated dimples that directs airflow to the heat pipes instead of just flowing them over, which Cooler Master does claim improves thermals slightly. The included 120mm fan does have a few slight design changes to the fin design. You can see a few little modifications there. But Cooler Master does claim it will have a 160,000 hour life expectancy. Looking at some physical dimensions, it is 158mm tall, 120mm wide, and 79mm deep with one fan attached. And memory clearance, we are looking at 37mm out of the box. But again, you can change the fan positioning just slightly if you have slightly taller modules. That'll meet your needs. And it does have a 4-pin PWM header. That way you can control the fan speed either via software or hardware. To begin the installation process, we first need to uninstall and remove the stock AMD CPU cooler mounting brackets. And that's as simple as unscrewing these 4 Phillips screws here and removing the plastic mounting brackets. Now, the backplate will fall out on its own if you have the motherboard in this orientation. So just expect that that included backplate to just fall to the table whenever you remove these mounting brackets. But essentially, this is the first thing that needs to be done in the installation process. I wanted to go ahead and show the backplate orientation with the standoffs and then the nuts attached to that. This is for the AM3 Plus socket type, and the standoffs you're going to use are going to be the ones you'll see right here. These standoffs, like I said, are for the orientation for the AM3 Plus socket type on the AMD platform. As always, with any new CPU cooler installation, you want to make sure to go ahead and clean the CPU off with isopropyl alcohol or something equivalent, and some non-fibrous cloth. In this case, I'm using a coffee filter, and then placing a pea-sized drop of thermal paste right to the center. I feel like this has the best method of thermal dissipation with the heatsink. I wanted to show you guys this part of the installation, as I did find this interesting. Now, the included adjustable X bracket on the AM3 Plus socket, the standoffs and the screws for the X bracket are almost directly underneath the fin array, which you do have to take a very fine Phillips screwdriver at an angle, and even kind of have to shimmy the heatsink back and forth just so you can at least get the threads started. But you do have to kind of take these at an angle just so you can even begin the threading process and installing the heatsink. So I did want to go and bring that up, as I didn't expect this whenever I first began the process. Here you can see me moving in a X-type formation, just moving from one side to the other, using an X pattern and a very fine Phillips head screwdriver to go ahead and tighten down these standoffs. Now, the mounting bracket will bottom out, so you can tighten these until really it stops. I did notice a really noticeable just stopping point. The cooler just wouldn't go down any further. And I'm only using, just hand tight. I'm not trying to gorilla crank these things down. Again, still having to shimmy it back and forth just to try and get a better angle at these standoffs. And overall, the installation of the heatsink tower wasn't that difficult. The Cooler Master Hyper 212X was an upgrade to my brother's rig from the stock AMD CPU cooler. Now, we do know that the AMD FX 8350 does get quite hot, and this cooler for $40 did lower the temps overall, which did improve the overall thermal performance as well as the overclocking headroom if you're looking into that kind of thing. But for $40, I would definitely say that this CPU cooler is definitely a good upgrade from the stock CPU cooler. But if you are currently still on the 212 Evo line, there's probably not really much improvement here from that existing one. But overall, the installation process was pretty straightforward. The performance is pretty good. And this is a pretty good cooler overall. I would highly recommend it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.